Hello, I'm back. Today's episode is about running, and I'm a dirtbag. I'll tell you why at the end of the episode. um, I started running in high school, and I was only doing like the races were only like 2.5 miles. Training, I think I was running maybe 20, 30 miles a week. It's a fair amount of running, and I was so fresh to it, and I didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just kind of wanted to be a part of a group, honestly, and I'd never really been interested in sports before, so cross country felt like a good fit, and it really, really was like a glove. Everybody was a lot like me, skinny, tall, a little bit nerdy, but it was great. Varsity, I started running for varsity my sophomore year. I got pretty quick, pretty fast because I really took to running. Loved it, and I really pushed myself. Varsity, we were running 5K, which is like 3.1 miles, so fair amount, and my mileage had kind of skyrocketed. There were sometimes like towards the middle of the season, middle of the season, we were running like 60 to 70 miles a week. It's bananas. Tons and tons of miles. Like I was running to school in the morning, and then I would do a morning practice, and then I'd get ready for school, and then afterwards I'd have an evening practice, and then I would run home. It's so many miles. Wasn't sustainable, but we did it as a group. Actually, most of us were close to that 60, 70 mile mark. In college, things changed up a little bit. I had grown accustomed to running a shorter race, but in college, it was an 8K, which is 5.5 miles. I think 5 miles even. And the coach, I had gotten scholarships actually, so that was nice. But the coach wasn't actually a cross country coach, and the cross country team was like I don't know. It felt like a beta test. It wasn't a real cross country team. They were offering little scholarships to anybody who would wanted to run, and there were running enthusiasts that were on the team, but not many actual runners that had been competing like in high school and stuff like that. So the coach found me like a local running club that I joined, and so that I could find pacers and stay fast. And I lost a bunch of my speed when I was in college, but that's, I mean, mostly existential stuff like working 3 part-time jobs, having a girlfriend, partying, and everything like that. So that really affected my speed probably more than everything else. Um, but yeah, I also started running half marathon distance and full marathon distance while I was in college. It was easy enough to find competitions that I could join in the area. But full marathon, I started off doing like different legs of a relay, so not the full 26.2 miles. But I did end up running a full marathon on my own, kind of just in like the local neighborhood, just doing loops and blocks and stuff like that. But yeah, as I've gotten older though, like I had to change the way that I run, because I'm old and my body hurts. So I used to heel strike, and heel striking, I mean, it's debatable. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's not good to heel strike. You got a 4-foot strike." I get why heel striking was hurting me, because all of the energy from my foot hitting the ground when I would strike with my heel would go all the way up into my knee and into my hip, and it would start hurting my lower back. So I had to change it, and it's just because you're slamming your heel down, and all of that energy kind of just stops. There's no follow through. And then when I changed to 4-foot striking, it was difficult. Like I couldn't wrap my head around it for a while. It felt like I was tiptoeing while I ran. Um, but it was so much better for my knees, my hips, and my back. And it was just a constant flow of energy. It never felt like I was like hitting the pavement real hard. It was a smooth transition with every step in my stride. So it really, really, really helped a lot. And I also have changed like from pace, like keeping track of my per mile pace, to focusing on my heart rate. I do a lot of zone 2 training now, so I try to keep my heart rate under a certain amount and gradually get faster while being in that same pocket. I did a marathon, like an actual marathon race, the Chicago Marathon. Actually, that was great because it was nice and flat. It felt like it was going to be an easier marathon to do. There was a ton of people there, and I did okay. I so far removed from my high school days where I was super quick, but I still feel like I did pretty good. And I think others would agree. But that was a lot of fun. It just really doing that marathon race. It felt like I was a part of a culture, the running culture. Just a bunch of skinny people running real fast. Like during the marathon, people would stop, and it was crazy to me. Like I didn't even fathom what this would be like. But people would stop and like pee in the middle of the street or go off to the side and pee in some bushes or something like that. Grown men and women. It was bonkers to me, and people were shedding like because the race started awfully early, so it was kind of cold during that time of year, and people would shed clothes off and just leave it. I'm like, man, I can't imagine how much garbage there is for this kind of event. Plus, there had to have been like a million people watching all along the way. It was bananas. Speaking of running culture, things like getting brand new running shoes excite me. I'm like, ooh, they smell like new shoes and they feel so cushy and soft and they look awesome and it feels like you get a new set of tires, new set of off-road tires or racing tires for your car or something like that. That's how it feels like to me. And I think to myself, I can't wait to put miles in and start wrecking these shoes. And it's funny to think that because you spend so much freaking money on running shoes these days. It's like, man, it's got to be anywhere from like $150 to $250 for a pair of running shoes, and I'll put like 500-600 miles on them each, and that doesn't take super long. But I'm like one or two pairs of shoes a year. So expensive. Plus, running shorts are the crazy looking short running shorts with crazy designs and reflectors on them. I want people to see me. I don't care if I look weird. I want people to see me, especially if I'm running on the side of a country road or something like that. I want to be seen. So that and snacks and supplements are all real important. Like you need electrolytes and you need carbs and got to make sure you're eating enough for the day. And yeah, snacks are important. I call them snacksidents. I have like 3 or 4 snacks a day. It's bananas. Actually, bananas are a really good running snack because of the potassium. It's good to help prevent cramps and stuff like that. That and I eat an electrolyte mix. I'll drink an electrolyte mix, and those have got some really good flavors. Plus, I got to pay attention to my joints, so I got to take like L-glutamine and fish oil and stuff like that. And turmeric with black pepper is actually a really good way to kind of lower inflammation. So is cannabis. And yeah, lots of carbs, because you got to fuel the furnace, man. Got to fuel the furnace. So, and as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten more interested in how the body, what the body does while you're running, like what the chemicals that your body releases while you're running, and that's anywhere from like endorphins, which is like a neurotransmitter in the brain, and it flows during exercise and when you're eating and even during sex. And serotonin, the mood enhancer. It's all that good stuff. I think that gets released too when you pet a puppy. Endocannabinoids is another good one, which actually acts a lot like cannabis. It seems to be a reoccurring theme, but it's like a mood enhancer that feel good, naturally released in the blood, and it crosses the blood-brain barriers. Real good stuff. And then neuroepinephrine. Gosh, I hope I'm saying that right. Which is made by the nerve cells? Question mark? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And adrenal glands. And it acts as like a hormone or a neurotransmitter. But yeah, it's all sorts of good stuff. Man, I could talk hours about that stuff. Maybe that's another episode. Maybe I'll have more episodes about running. But anyway, I would like to talk about why I'm a dirtbag. So my first day of high school, just wandering around the halls. It wasn't really class. It was just getting to know the school and everything like that, and meeting teachers and stuff like that. And the cross country coach ran up to me, and he's like, "Hey, you're a tall, skinny guy. You should run cross country." And I was like, "Okay." Little did I know that he changed my life, literally. And the first day of practice, I became a dirtbag. He called us. He said he's the first thing he said. He's like, "All right, dirtbags, start doing some running." He was just trying to act like, I don't know, Full Metal Jacket, like drill sergeant kind of guy, but like ironically, because he was such a nice guy, and he's lovingly, of course, and he just called us dirtbags. So that's what I was. I would get a tattoo that says I'm a dirtbag or something like that. I really should. Ooh, I should tell him that. I still talk to him now and then. But yeah, I had no idea how hard running was going to be, especially because I really wasn't athletic at all. I was literally just a tall, 120-pound, soaking wet kid. And I was 6 foot. I was super skinny. And I really had no idea how hard it was going to be or how good I would get at it. And I've been running for almost 30 years. It's a big part of my life. Yeah, very important. I gotta get some new running shoes. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Can't wait to see you again.